Hello friends, I hope that everyone is doing well. I just wanted to come on here and let you know about the books that I read in April. I was able to read, 8 books in April. I believe it was a pretty good reading month. I think everything had some pretty solid ratings from me. Nothing horrible that stood out, right? And then there were a couple books that stood out as really exciting, and I can't wait to continue the series or really great standalones. So let's just jump in. The first book that I finished in April is To Shape a Dragon's Breath by Moniquill Blackgoose. Now this book is about a young Native woman so she's 16, so a girl, but in her culture, she's considered a woman, and she finds a dragon egg, and she becomes the, bonded human to this dragon, and in the colonizer part of society, they require everyone who has a dragon to be enrolled in the government, and in order to keep it and not have the dragon be put to death, they require her to go to a school, and she does, and it is a book really about facing the injustices that Native people are facing in this fantasy setting, while also having it really a lot to our history and present day. But the magic system of how the dragons breathe fire and how you can harness that and make it do certain types of basically elemental magic is fascinating. The closest thing that I can think of when it's described in the book is chemistry, the breaking down of aspects in order to make different chemical reactions to produce different compounds or needs, water, fire, rich soil, different things like that. And the way that was put together was fascinating to me. And the way that the dragons coexist within the lore of the Native people is really fascinating. Every time I try to say the word for a bonded person to a dragon, I always say it wrong. It's my mouth can't fully get around it. It's Nempesiwasis. It's amazing. I read the book and listened to the audio, did an immersion read just to help me with that, and highly recommend. I don't want to go too much into it because I don't want to give away any spoilers, but there is a slight little high school romance bit, but it's a lot of her being strong in who she is and her representing her culture well as believing that her culture is good and is not something to be ashamed of, and how wrong the colonizers are about the practices that the Native people do. And yeah, I loved it. I picked up the sequel because that is out now. So I am super excited to jump into that later this year. So that one I gave, 5 stars. On my tracker, it goes by it says 4.8, but it's over 4.75, so I'll round that up to a 5-star. It was really good. The next book that I read is The Bookshop Below by Georgia Summers. This book I really enjoyed. I didn't have many expectations going into it, which I think really helped that experience. So this is about a bookshop and a collection of bookshops, actually, that are connected to the river that gives this like magic to the books and to the people who take care of them. So like one bookshop may have more magic in some of the tomes inside. If you open it, like it'll flood or storm, or you can read magic into the world and make things happen. And it's both incredible and like a beautiful gift at times, and then can be deadly. And it's fascinating. I really enjoyed the magical aspect of it. The main character is someone who was an apprentice to become a bookshop owner, who then left. She didn't get like kicked out, but it kind of felt that way. And then she became kind of a grifter and reader of books at times. It's a really interesting storyline where you're learning about her life and you're getting snippets of her past while she goes through the present, because she was basically gifted one of these magical bookshops, but she's trying to learn how to be a good owner to it again. And it's a learning curve, and she's got some secrets that she wants to keep hidden, but that's not necessarily gonna happen for her. But yeah, it was a wild ride. It was a very fast read. I was very excited to like keep going. I would think about it and be like, oh, I want to keep reading that. So the bookshop below, I gave 4.75 stars. So really solid book. I just kept going back to it. My enjoyment was a 5. I think that was the best part, in my opinion. It wasn't emotional at all, but like I enjoyed all of the characters and the setting up of the bookshops. Yeah. Yes. Recommend. And then I read A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon by Sarah Hawley. Now, this book, I did not know what to expect. I had put this on hold for the audiobook through my library because I was like, oh, this sounds cute. It'll be a good fall read, back in September, and I just got it in April. So apparently it's popular, or at least it is in my library. And I have to say it was adorable. It was just like one of those fun, kick your feet type romances that is set in like with fantasy characters, set in the real world. It did deal with some different like trauma things that both the witch and the demon were going through, in the way that they like talk, do things. I don't know. It was a romance. It was good. I enjoyed it. It wasn't revolutionary, but it also was not super predictable and boring. With romances, they can become very repetitive and formulaic. Same with romantasy, and so I just get burnt out pretty quickly. And this one, although hitting some of those things, I was able to still enjoy it, and it had a few different things that kept me more engaged than, say, a general contemporary romance would. And this one I gave 4 stars to. So still had a great time. Again, enjoyment, 5 stars. It was not emotional. Plot was whatever. Themes were, I would say, they're pretty good, but just cute. The next book that I read is The Magician's Daughter by H.G. Parry. Now, this I would say was a cozy fantasy. It did have some stressful and darker elements, but overall really like warming and cute. So essentially, our main character is living on this island with the man who raised her guardian, and they live this really fantastical life on this magical island. And she gets frustrated because she's never been to the mainland. She's only ever lived on this island, and so she doesn't know what everything outside of this one island, where it's just her guardian and her guardian's familiar, who she can only talk to when he transforms into human form. So she does end up going to the island, but it is for a more risky type mission. And she ends up in basically like a governess school, children's home type thing, where she is learning and also taking care of these children and gets paid a certain amount. It's a really hard life, and she's learning that not everything on the mainland is really all roses and everything. And while she's there, she's trying to figure out how to stop these like evil magicians from stealing all of the magic that is in the world and how to bring that magic back. And you just follow her story along, and during it, she's learning more about the guardian who watches over her. She's learning about herself. She's figuring out what it means to be who she is as an unmagical girl who lives and knows a lot about magic and lives this magical type of life. It was a very interesting story. It wasn't quite what I expected, but I think some of the themes were really good and important. And the magic system, again, I think was really cool in the way that they describe how magic is used and taken care of and things. I think is really interesting. There's one scene in the book that is a giant spoiler, so I'm not going to say it, but I really love it because she interacts with a magical creature and basically gets taken somewhere where she learns more about like the magic coming into the world and going out and all of this stuff. And it's a beautiful moment, and it has a lot of similarities to the way that our natural resources are being taken care of, or lack thereof, and the exploitation of that and the hoarding of it and the greed. I thought there were some good parallels in there as well. Maybe I was reading into it. I don't think so, but hey. But no, I really liked it. I gave that one a 4.5 stars. And then I read The Poisoned King, which is a sequel to Impossible Creatures by Katherine Rundell. I liked this book better than the first book, but also these children's books have so much more emotional damage than I was like expecting. The first book, Impossible Creatures, I cried like full crocodile tears twice in it because of things that happened. And to the point where I was like, I'm not even, I had bought this and I was like, I'm not even going to read it. But I was like, I bought it, I'm going to read it. So I did like it, but it deals with some heavy themes. And I think they're important themes about like greed and what that does to people and a kingdom. It talks about like taking care of the land, of the creatures, it talks about extinction, things like that as well, and some really, really important things that I think are done in a way that is more accessible to children, but still like has that gut punch that you have as an adult or as a kid. Like either way, you're still gonna feel it. And I don't know. I'll probably read the next book because I'm this far, but I am just like, whew, it's a lot. It's good, but it does deal with some more intense themes than what I think most middle grade does. But with that, essentially, we follow Christopher, who is a boy who lives in the real world. I think he lives in the UK, and he is the guardian. So animals love him, and he can go into this magical world, which has been sealed off from the rest of the world to protect its animals and all the magic that's there. And so he goes and he helps like save creatures, figure out what's going on, battle bad guys, and do all of that. So very fantastical and cute, but also punchy with its themes and with the like plot. It doesn't hold back. So I think if you have someone or like a kid in middle grade, I think it's a good book to read with them. So you can talk about some of those things that happen. But yeah, that one I gave 3.75. And the next book that I read was Shield of Sparrows. Now this is by Devney Parry. Like I said earlier, I am not always really vibing with romantasy or romance books, but every now and again I love picking them up, and this one I really enjoyed. I thought it was done well. I got it through my library as an audiobook, and the audio was done well, but it also just was not as predictable, I would say, as most romantasies that I've seen are. It was more about her learning to be who she is and stand up for herself, and less about the romance between the two. Like, don't get me wrong, that was definitely there, a lot of it, but it wasn't like the main thing. I enjoyed that, and again, the setup for the like world and the world building and the politicalness of it and the magical type creatures. I don't even know if they're technically magical creatures or if they're just like these creatures that were made by the gods, and yeah. But so some of them like you fight, some of them you live in harmony with, and then however often there's the crux where some animals come and basically obliterate all that is in its path, and if they can find you. And so the whole time they're talking about that, and in the end there is a twist that I didn't see coming, but I'm excited to see where it goes. Because I know the second book is out. I haven't read it yet. I have it on hold again at my library. But it is just, I don't know. It's just good. I had a good time just kicking my feet, enjoying the ride. My favorite character, though, I'm not going to lie, is like a little girl. I can't remember how old. Evie, the like 5-6-year-old or something. Hilarious and spunky, and it was good. I enjoyed it. I'm excited for the sequel. And then I gave that one 4 stars. So, solid. My friend invited me to a book club, and I read Remarkably Bright Creatures. Oh yeah, who is that by? By Shelby von Pelt. And this book is going to be a movie soon, or is a movie, and I did not want to read this. Everybody was talking about it. I thought it was about an octopus and a woman falling in love, and that just was not my vibe. That's not what I wanted to read. I found out I was wrong. I was so very wrong on what it actually was, and I loved it. It was a literary fiction about an older woman who lost her son in a tragic accident, and they all think it was a suicide. She believes it was a tragic accident. And then about an octopus that is in the aquarium that this lady cleans. And it is their relationship. And then there is another character, a young man who moves up from a different state and is just figuring out how to be a decent human. And so you get their struggles as they are moving through life, and you learn how people are interconnected no matter how alone they may feel. And yeah, it was beautiful. It was so good. I don't even know. I was so shocked at how much I genuinely enjoyed it. And I could have taken 10 more chapters of Marcellus the octopus and his point of view. And the older gentleman who runs the shop, I can't remember his name, but I think it's Ethan, actually. The old Scottish man, loved him. Just a gem of a human. And yeah, I would say if you are interested in literary fiction, if you just want one of those stories that you can really connect to and understand, like, the person's heart and who they are, definitely give this one a read. I gave it a 4.75 stars. The next book that I read is Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. So I really enjoyed this one. It was a romance, and the main character is a lesbian, and she grew up with a stepmom who never really wanted her and a sister who also never wanted her. And so she's always felt alone and isolated, and she's wanted friends, she's wanted that connection, but she's never had it. And so she moved away, and she is a constant one-night stand, move on type of person because she doesn't want to get her heart broken. And so you learn a lot about her and her breaking down her walls and letting people in, and her relationship with, like, her stepmother and stepsister. And the stuff she goes through, I cried. Like, it was good. I really enjoyed her. And she was wrong in some instances, and we learned that, and it kind of just showed how no matter your perspective, there's another perspective. So communication is honestly key. And then she falls in love with this one woman with a daughter and an ex who she's really good friends with and co-parents, but has a hard time fully trusting because he's kind of like a grown-up kid, but he's trying. It's really good. I think both the love interest and the main character are very compelling characters and very unique. I still did go into some of those communication tropes and like third act breakup, like all of those types of things, which are not my favorite, but overall, I think it hit really well, and I gave that one a 4.5 star. So I recommend it. Those are all the books that I read in April. And as you can tell, I'm in a different spot. I am pet sitting some beautiful babies like Stella. She can be like, why did you just pet me? I was sleeping. And then Obi, who made a brief appearance. Thanks for sticking around. Please let me know what you read in April, and if there is a book that I suggested that you also love, or one that you think I would love, put it in the comment and let me know.